That should do. Last test.
Hello.
Hello. It's a bit quieter than the other mic, but that's okay. Okay. Hey Bella.
Hello.
You've been to the New Zealand Tango Festival.
Yes.
How was it?
Awesome.
Oops. I'm sitting in the wrong spot. Awesome.
It was awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
Why? Because you 2 months ago you didn't even know that tango existed, I think.
No, I don't think I did. Yeah. Why was it amazing? I think just because during the day you're doing tango and then the evening doing more tango.
Yeah.
You're sort of totally immersed in it. Just kind of breathing tango. Which is a little bit different to 1 day a week going to class.
Yeah, very different.
Yeah.
And with more people.
Oh, a lot more people. I think I'd pitched it being crazy big, and it wasn't quite as sort of overwhelming as you said it might have been.
Yeah.
But it's still a lot of people compared to Tuesday night class.
Oh yeah, that's a big jump.
Yeah.
So it was different than you expected still.
Yeah.
Was it that only the number of people or also what you experienced from the festival?
Probably a bit of both. I don't know, I went in pretty open-minded about what it would be like. So.
But still you had some kind of expectations in your mind, I guess, to make the choice to go, and how did they relate to what you found?
To be honest, I can't really remember. It's all a blur. Before the festival was a total blur. Yeah, I couldn't even remember my week before the festival. Just totally got caught up in it. Everything beforehand sort of blurred out. Yeah.
Is that because it's more dreamy like now, or is it that because you're too busy?
I think I was just so focused on that when I was away. Now I'm come back and everything's sort of more chilled out.
Yeah.
What I'm doing day to day now. It's not sort of running around.
Was it too much?
No, I mean I didn't sleep a lot.
Yeah.
I was a total zombie the day that I was coming back, but I don't say it was too much. I think it was good. I was totally buzzing. So.
Hey, because you went when did you start? When did you go to the festival? Or to Wellington?
Just last Wednesday. So.
And you stayed
about a week ago. Yesterday, so it was about 6 days.
6 days of solid dancing.
Mm.
Because you just started, did you feel that you danced enough during the festival or on the milongas?
I think I danced a lot.
Yeah.
I pretty much said yes to every dance. I think there was one at the lunchtime milongas where I just said I'm sorry but I need to sit down. And then apart from that I danced every time I was asked, because why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you feel comfortable, because you said you were curious about your own level within the festival?
Yeah, there was a few times where I was stumbling around the place, but I think that's just overthinking it, or dancing with some beautiful person where everything went out the window. That happened once, it was a bit embarrassing. But no, I felt pretty good. There was one person at the end that I danced with on Monday night, and they was like, wow, you've really chilled out. I was obviously, from when I first danced with them earlier on, maybe was a bit nervous, but yeah, they said that I sort of chilled out and it was really a nice dance, so I think I learnt a lot. I mean, not that I can really remember before the festival. Yeah.
So you would go again?
Yep.
Would you recommend anyone going that early? Because you like just starting.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, everyone kept saying, oh, you're so brave, but I don't know, I just was like, well, why wouldn't you go?
Well, there's plenty of people that wait years sometimes to go to the festival.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. But so you had several dances with over the festival. The same people?
Yeah, lots of people that I recognised came back, so it might kind of been that bad.
Um, how did you feel the difference between the the milongas? You went to the Wellington milonga, which was basically before the actual festival,
Mm.
and you went one after that, and you had the big ones in the middle. How would you describe the differences between them?
Well, the first one I went to, I didn't really know anyone going up there apart from you, really. Um,
Well, I wasn't even there.
yeah, I didn't really even see you that much.
I wasn't there the first night, the Wednesday night.
Oh yeah, you went. Um, I think it was just the amount of people really, which made the night feel like how it differed. The amount of people, and then the people I recognised by the end of it, I knew a lot of the people in the room, which was nice. But yeah, what was your
But
question?
well, like the first one you walked into, you walked by yourself and you didn't know, you thought you didn't know anyone.
Mm.
There were probably people you might have recognized or not at all. So
Yeah, I can't
that
remember
was a
now.
really cold turn up for you. Was it friendly? Was it warm? Did you feel uncomfortable or hard to connect?
Well, I was one of the first people to arrive on that Wednesday night, so I just sat down with the other lady who was there, and then met all the people who sat down at the table as well, and that was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't find it too hard really, talking to all these new people. Just sort of, gotta just sort of jump in.
Everyone was just friendly and welcome.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have any bad experiences with anyone.
No.
Everyone was friendly enough.
And did you feel it mattered that you were there, like you said, one of the first people?
Do I think it mattered?
Yeah.
It's probably quite a good thing. Like you said, turning up early is better because people see
Yeah.
when they arrive, so it's probably quite good. You were right about how the evening works when you don't know people. I had one or two dances at the start and then nothing for most of the night, and then everyone. Then I had a bunch at the end.
And you were fine with that?
Yeah,
Just enjoying sitting there,
yeah, it was
chatting?
fine if you're not dancing, you're watching, so that's fun too.
Yeah.
So I don't really mind. Yeah.
That's good. Did you like, because that was a smaller one, because there were less people there, was because of that were the bigger ones more intimidating?
I don't really remember being intimidated by the big ones.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was more exciting walking in, and especially because you knew that there was going to be some amazing performances, which were amazing. um, yeah, I don't really remember. The only time I was nervous was for my first workshop. That's the only time I remember being nervous.
What kind of workshop was that?
It was one of the open classes,
Yeah.
and I think it was called musicality. It was probably my favourite class, just how they describe the music and how they interpret it.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting. Hadn't really thought about it a whole lot in that kind of way. So, yeah.
So that was some of the international teachers.
Yep.
And so could you feel a difference between the open classes and the second step classes?
Yeah, the second step was sort of, it was things that you'd gone over in classes here. So it's sort of just re-going over those things. The open classes seem to be more sort of, what's the word, sort of, I don't know, experimental in a way. It was sort of the way they were talking about the music and not even really the steps, was sort of more sort of interpret it how you want to. Not like these are the steps, go and do them, which I thought was quite interesting.
Yeah, that's also, yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense because
Yeah.
you can do. There's always been two groups of musicality classes where one is where
Right.
you know this is what you do on this part of music,
Yeah.
or this is the feeling that of this part of the music.
Yeah.
You know, there's more rotation, there's more steps, or you know. So this sounded like the more open one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you do any other open classes?
I did two. Trying to think what they were now. remember what they were.
Still a blur.
Yeah. Uh, um, what were they? Musical one. I can't even think right now off the top of my head.
Um, so what's the biggest thing you've taken from festival?
Oh gosh, that's a big question. Um, I don't know. It's just a totally new world
Yeah.
for me, so I don't know. It's pretty exciting. I don't know what I've taken from it though.
Well, if like if you um, what like your feeling about your what you're feeling about tango if you look at it when you started 2 months ago, or you're feeling about it now?
It's hard to think that far ago. um, well, it's different now. I feel like I can move around the dance floor with someone a lot easier than obviously when I first started. And that's hard to think back.
Yes,
when
but
I
that's
started.
that's a practical side. In your feeling, like you might have enjoyed doing a bit of class when you started out, but do you feel tango is in you now, for example?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's thinking about what makes me excited every day. I think I can't stop thinking about tango now. I dream about it every night. It's like just sort of.
How do you dream about it?
I just go. It's like I go to a milonga every time I go to sleep. Literally. Yeah.
So what's next?
More tango.
That's good. Um, cool. I think that's it. Thanks.
Cool.
The tango dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
It's even when I stop, like especially when we were up in Wellington, I'd stop and sit down, and it was like I was still moving, which is kind of weird.
And well, you feel it yourself, but you can, there's plenty of Facebook posts and stuff with little warnings, signs like warning tango is addictive.
Okay.
And you can probably imagine it now.
Yeah. I can see why people say once you start, you're gonna get hooked and never want to stop.
Yeah, well, it's very difficult that there's inside jokes always that that you don't have any normal friends anymore at some point.
Well, it's even funny, just people, friends and family asking me what I've been up to, and I'm like, oh, I've started in this social tango class, and they kind of look at me and then laugh. Or even when my parents picked me up from the airport and they're asking me about it, and I just rambling, like telling them everything, and there's sort of the silence, and I was like, oh, what's wrong? And they're like, if I had to list 1,000 things you were gonna do this year, dancing would not have been one of them. So.
They wouldn't expect you to rave about it that way.
No, yeah. And they can see that I'm excited about it, because when I'm talking about it, I'm like, yeah.
In that way as well, it's very different, I think, than other dances.
I wouldn't know.
No, maybe, but you can imagine it, because that's one thing I wonder if you experienced about it. Like, especially when you see your classes, there's a lot of folks always on embrace and engagement with each other, and tango is really a dance depending on the music, where within those 3 to 10 minutes you give yourself to someone. You know, yes, there's a lot of movement and dancing going on. But within a milonga, there's a couple of dances you have that you really connect with someone, and disappear in his little world.
Yeah. I think I've had glimpses of that.
Yeah. Well, then you're really lucky,
Yeah.
because that's what we call tango bliss.
Right.
And once you have one, you're stuffed.
Yeah.
Because you only want to get more.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to describe to someone else.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, I was thinking about that because you get really close to people. Like, I mean, sometimes you're pressed against each other's faces.
You can feel each other's heartbeats.
Yeah. And when do you do that often, day to day?
No,
Not
we
really.
don't. Especially not, also not that you move together like that, because then you really have to get in tune.
Yeah. And it's all different people.
Yeah.
People that you probably wouldn't usually.
No, because that's an interesting one actually, because especially as an earlier dancer, the more experience you get, the more picky you will get.
Yeah.
But like I said, you said yes to everything, but then you can end up with quite a big age difference.
Mm.
Was that an issue?
I noticed that the age difference, but I didn't mind. Didn't really. I was getting to dance, so I didn't mind at all. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's another interesting thing about the dance as well. I think that also because it matters maybe less, because it might give you a more experienced dancer.
Yeah, I mean, age in day-to-day life anyway, with friends, I don't see age.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends are older, and it doesn't really mean anything.
No.
So dancing with older people, get to dance, that's cool. I don't mind.
Did you experience dance you maybe like less?
Sorry?
Were there dances you less enjoyed?
There were a few. And one of them was in class as well. Just, I think maybe they should have been in a beginner class, because you'd be learning something and then you wouldn't get to practice it because they couldn't do the basics.
Did you?
It was a bit awkward.
Did you just say maybe they should be in a beginner's class? Yes, maybe. Well, they already can understand how frustrated in other levels you get with people within the wrong level.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because that's quite often a common problem, that people put themselves higher than they should be. And one of the teachers during the workshop, it was an advanced workshop, he set himself down at the end of the workshop. I had to talk to people. I said, well, when you take these workshops, maybe you should be honest with yourself. And because more than half the class should not have been there, maybe.
Right.
And it's frustrating for everyone, because you end up, that's what he said as well, because should I teach the people that do get it and should be here, or should I cater for the rest of the class that doesn't really get it and try to lower the level of the class that way?
Yeah.
So he's frustrated, and on both sides of the levels are people frustrated, because it's okay to be challenged, but it's another thing to struggle.
Yeah. We don't want to not be able to do what they've been taught at all.
No.
Because it's not fair on the other person. No. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But it's hard to prevent that. You kind of have to leave it to people to. You can't test everyone before they go in.
No. Yeah.
So you just really have to understand or talk to your teacher if it's sensible to go to certain workshops. But it's interesting that you got frustrated with it.
Yeah. Well, it was we would go over something, and then we'd change partners all the time. But whenever I got to him, we were doing what we were doing at the start of the class, so you'd miss a whole chunk of what you'd just learned because you couldn't do it with them.
Yeah.
That's a bit frustrating.
Yeah. Did you feel you were able to keep up with everything through all the classes, both the second step and the open?
Yeah. I just remembered one of the open ones was changing roles, and that may have been a bit much. Could do it, but it's so confusing.
Yeah. What was the most confusing thing about it?
Just when you're following, I guess you're doing different steps to how it's led. So when you're swapping over, where you put in your feet is different. um, yeah, it's just a different thing, I guess.
It is a different thing.
Mm.
Yeah. So what did you get out of it?
I could see that it would be helpful or interesting to know how to lead and follow. Um, I think for now, though, I'll just stick to one of them. Yeah. Or
Was that the aim of the class? What was the aim of the class? You think having the change of roles?
um, to just be able to move between the two throughout the dance, because
Mm.
that's sort of how we were doing it. You sort of swap when you felt like it, I guess, when you can communicate your swapping, which would be a cool thing to be able to do. But yeah.
There's a really cool video on that. I posted it last 2 weeks ago, I think.
Okay.
Um, yeah. Unless there's something else that springs to mind that you wanna throw in there.